We have some breaking news that just dropped as the Toronto Maple Leafs have made a major signing, bringing back Simon Benoit to 3 more years. So I'm going to break down that signing in this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as some major injury updates. We have a lot to discuss there. But before we do, a quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. About 78% of you guys who are watching are not subscribed. And if you are part of that 78.3% who aren't, make sure to hit that button as we're on the road to 7,000 subscribers. Now, Darius, a lot to discuss today. Obviously, a bit of a surprising. The Leafs always make these random signings at very interesting times and a very good time for the Leafs. If you're a Benoit fan, which we are, as I'll show the graphic in a little bit here, but Darius, a very team-friendly contract, and obviously good for Benoit to get this done. And you can see it here. The Maple Leafs tweeted, "We've signed defenseman Simon Benoit to a 3-year contract. It is 3 years, $1.35 million AAV. Get security, good deal for the club, win-win." I'll get into his stats and stuff here shortly, but what are your initial thoughts on this contract when you saw it? We were clamoring for an extension all season ever since he kind of came from the Ducks and was very, very good.
Yeah, well, the Leafs certainly blessed us on this long weekend with this contract. I was not expecting this today, and I was kind of, surprised that it took this long too. Like we were under the assumption that this should have happened a long time ago, and I think the Benoit train, we've been on it all year, like you mentioned. I think it's finally arrived. I think he's here. This is what he is, and it's great, right? He's been playing fantastic. So initial reaction, fantastic. I think this is one of the only signings in recent memory where everyone's like, yep, this is very good for both parties. Great for the player, he gets a raise, and great for the team-friendly contract. The salary cap's going to continue to go up, and to get him for a couple more years. And obviously he was an RFA, so you don't want to qualify him. Maybe there's some friction there. You give him an upgrade there on the contract, give him a nice raise, and see what he can bring again next season. I mean, he's been great this year, man. Like, he's brought the physicality. He's not a guy who's going to score goals for you, but he's brought exactly what they need more of, and he's done it pretty effectively. So this is a great contract, and hopefully he can continue it into the future.
Yeah, you see 5 points at 54 games, but that's not his calling card. You see from Jonas Siegel here saying the Leafs buy up his age 26, 27, and 28, so his prime years, and now Morgan Rielly is the only Leafs defenseman under contract longer than Benoit. So we have a couple of our core guys now locked up. Obviously Rielly, a bigger part of the core than Benoit is. And you look at his charts here, he has a bunch of different charts. Essentially, he's very solid at defense. He's good at entry, chance prevention. We've seen him hit a million times. He's not going to do much for you on the offensive end of things, but you don't really need him to. And if you look at the JFresh chart here, obviously a lot of red, doesn't really stand out too much, but he has carved himself out a spot on the Leafs' third pair. We already knew that. And doesn't do much with the puck, but has protected the slot well. And the question going forward is if he'll be able to sustain this level of play. I mean, for $1.35 million, if he can just stick on that third pairing defensive line, then I think I'd be very happy with that. Obviously, Leafs fans will be very happy with that. And I don't know, we've been on the train. I'll bring up the graphic again. He has been one of the bright spots of the entire season for the Maple Leafs, in a season where there's been a few breakouts, kind of, but Benoit's been the biggest one, and they lock him down. And this is a couple weeks removed from Keefe kind of, obviously after the trade deadline, healthy scratching him a few times to get the lines going. So I'm curious to see how that transpires going forward, though.
Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy around that. Like, did he make a couple mistakes? Does Keefe not like those mistakes and he was scratching him? Honestly, I'm leaning more towards the fact that they got a couple guys from the trade deadline and they're just playing with line combinations, and they're in that point of the season where he's playing with everything. We've seen it the last couple of years. Not that I agree with that, but I think that's what's happening. And obviously he's back in the lineup here. And if you look at his last 5 games, this guy's good for 2 blocks a game. He threw 10 hits in the last game against the New Jersey Devils, the last time they played the Caps as well. He's throwing the ball every game. He's blowing guys up. We saw last week too, huge hit on Hockey Night in Canada. So he's playing really well, and I think he can continue it into the future. I think he's only going to get better because he's on a better team and they're going to push him to get better. And going forward, I think with what Brad Treliving has shown, what he wants to build, I don't think Benoit is going to be relied upon to be maybe even a second pairing defenseman. He could be on the third pairing moving forward, right? So I think they're going to set him up to succeed, and I think he's put himself in a position to succeed anyway this year. And I love everything that he's brought this year. And if he can continue into the future, he's going to be a fan favorite until the day he leaves, if he ever ends up leaving.
Definitely a fan favorite from us as you see the train for the third and final time. But we've kind of seen the way that they've constructed this defense now. You have Lyubushkin, who throws his body around. You have Edmondson, and we've seen him he does what Edmondson does, throw some crazy hits. And a lot of these guys aren't the most skilled offensive players or puck movers in Benoit and Lyubushkin. But, you kind of in the playoffs, we've seen the Bruins' physicality. They went out and got a guy who's very, very physical. And now Benoit, who helps with that physicality, and he's locked up for the next 3 years, is going to be very crucial. And again,
I think Benoit, sorry to cut in too, I think he's very underrated at getting the puck out too and like dumping it. I think he's going to be great in the playoffs. I think he's super underrated. And Leaf fans love him already. I'm just waiting for the playoffs. I think this team is going to be a little bit different in the playoffs, and him included, so I'm excited to see that. He's a little underrated in getting the puck out and moving the puck.
Yeah, and I mean, the Leafs don't really have much. I mean, it says it right here, and you sent it to me. Morgan Rielly is now the only Leafs defenseman under contract longer than Benoit, so our defensive core is still up in the air, so it's nice to slowly, get guys from other teams, in this case Benoit from the Ducks, and just reward them when they play well and kind of get some underrated guys. Very good move for Brad Treliving and the Toronto Maple Leafs, so let us know what your thoughts are on that. But let's move on to some injury updates now. One newer one a bit, not old necessarily, from a couple days ago. So you can see here, Mitch Marner is back to skating. He is giving his ankle a good go this morning. He's probably still a ways away, but this is good progress, and hopefully he's going to be ready. I don't know what the timeline is. Hopefully for the playoffs, I don't know if there hasn't been really too many updates regarding Mitch Marner, but he's skating, and it's funny because a few weeks ago when this injury first kind of came to fruition, it was supposed to be a minor thing, and now here we are on March 29th, about to be April, and he is still out of the lineup, and obviously Matthews is going to be one of the most excited ones to get him back, but Darius, he is back to skating a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's a good sign, that's for sure. He's giving the ankle a good go, which is good, and he's expected to start participating in practice very shortly. And he was even filling in the morning skate last night, or for last night's game, and that's a great sign. I think he'll be back soon. It's just been a weird situation from top down. Like, it didn't even look like he was injured on the play, to he's day to day, to he's missed almost 3 weeks now. And now, okay, he might return any day now, so we'll have to see. He's going to have to get some practices in to get back to full speed. But you know what, in my eyes, like with the playoffs around the corner, even if he doesn't come back till the playoffs, just make sure he's 100%. You need that player at 100% or close to it if he can get there. So, keep him out if he's still not feeling it. But it's been a weird situation just with some of the wording they use, and it sounds like he will be making his way back, which is good. But I just hope it's at 100% because the Leafs, a lot of them are dropping like flies recently. There have been a lot of injuries with the Leafs and a lot of guys dealing with stuff. I'm sure a lot of the guys are playing hurt as well. So hopefully Mitch Marner can come back at 100% soon.
Yeah, I have no faith in their timelines anymore, so we'll see what happens with that. And then quickly, this dropped yesterday, Timothy Liljegren is going to miss some time here for us, and he's been riddled with injuries, it feels like, throughout the most of the season. He's a guy who plays well, sometimes he plays poorly, but I think he's going to be a big part of the future for the Toronto Maple Leafs, hopefully, on the blue line there. Do you have any thoughts on this? Very unfortunate, and hopefully again, the playoffs are around the corner, so injuries at this time of year, if you're just starting to get one and you're not even beginning, you're ramping back up, it's going to be tough to get them in, especially with the amount of defensemen now that the Leafs have.
Yeah, they have a lot of defensemen, and they're mixing and matching things, and now it sounds like he might be out for, quite some time, and the playoffs are right around the corner, so who knows what that looks like. And like you said, his season's been kind of riddled with injuries. It started really poorly with that injury, the high ankle sprain against the Bruins, and it's just kind of gone from there, right? And he's been the center of a lot of criticism this year, but he's been dealing with injuries. So I feel like there's still more to be seen with Liljegren. Maybe next season. He's been battling through it, and I think there's something to be said about that. But we'll see. It sounds like it's an upper body injury. There's no specifics on it, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see, because at this point, week to week or day to day, it could be anything with the Leafs. So we'll just have to wait and see. But hopefully he's back soon, and we'll see how he kind of slots into the playoff lineup, if he even does. We know Keefe likes to go with the heavier back end. We've seen it in previous seasons, choosing Hall over Liljegren. So I think that it might follow that this year as well, even if he is available. So we'll just have to see how it shakes out if he's back in a couple weeks.
Yeah, hopefully it will be. And that'll wrap it up. Let us know what your thoughts are on the signing. Every Leafs fan is happy. That doesn't happen very often, and the hockey world kind of agrees it's a very good signing. So good move by Treliving. And hopefully the Leafs can keep their health going into the playoffs. Thank you guys for watching. See you tomorrow.